After being predicted to win only 6 games last season, the Washington Commanders exceeded expectations by winning 12 games and reached the NFC Championship. GM Adam Peters realized the Super Bowl window is now open. At the NFL Combine, where wheeling and dealing takes place, Peters made a big move by trading for former All-Pro receiver Deebo Samuel right before the free agency. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Off the Bench, episode 23, Combine Week, Part 2. Tuck your chain.
I'm Deebo. Who? Deebo.
What up, what's good, what's happening? It's your boy Big Herb here, and welcome to another episode of Off the Bench. So guys, it's been a pretty busy week, and if you ask me, I mean, we had the Combine that went down this past weekend. We have talks about John Bates possibly being a sleeper pick as far as with free agency. Oh shit, fucking Deebo Samuel. He is officially part of the Washington Commanders. So let's start. Before we get into the Deebo talk, let's go ahead and talk about what happened this past weekend. First things first, ESPN insider Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano has named tight end John Bates as a sleeper free agent to watch going into the next few weeks. Tight ends with blocking prowess in the run game can get paid. Bates appears to be the next one through Washington, though Washington will look to keep him. And me personally, I personally would like to keep him here because yes, Ben Sinnott should be next in line as far as becoming the next best tight end here. Even though Zach Ertz looks like he's going to be resigning with the team, I would like him to still be around for veteran leadership as far as Zach Ertz is concerned. I think that it'll be beneficial for Ben Sinnott to have that guy still around. But as far as John Bates is concerned, he's arguably one of the best, if not the best, blocking tight end in the league. And why the hell not? I mean, you had one of the best run games this year in the league, so why not keep him around? It's beneficial to you to go ahead and keep him on his team. He's had, me personally, I don't want him to be the reason why if he's catching the ball or anything like that. I don't believe he's a really good receiving tight end. But I will say this: if he's open like he was against Detroit a few times, I mean, shit, why not? But also, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of strictly this. He is one of the best tight end blocking tight ends in the league, and that can't go. You can't just let him go just because, unless you feel like you can pick up a tight end, a really good tight end. In this tight end class in the draft is pretty good, but I mean, my thing is this: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I mean, you got John, unless you feel like you have the next best receiving tight end coming up. I mean, hey, if you. What the hell do I know? I mean, Adam Peters been cooking. So I mean, yeah. But like I said, as far as with the the Combine this past week, there was some people who shine pretty bright. But instead of just going ahead and going down a list of like who had the best who had the best Combine this week, I'm going to look at players that we actually need that could be beneficial to us. But also like look at them. I still think that you should draft best player available, but I'm also saying like if it's a position of need, yeah, go ahead. Best player available, that's a need. Go after it. Here's a few people. Matthew Golding, wide receiver out of Texas. He had the second fastest 40 time overall throughout the whole entire Combine this week, running a 4.29. He's also been regarded as being an elite route runner. So, I mean, with the pickup that we just got this weekend and with Terry McLaurin, and you have Luke McCaffrey on the team as well. So, I mean, you're going to need receivers, but I mean, why not go ahead and look at somebody like him? And honestly, if he's available, he's one of the guys who I want to go ahead and pick up. And another one who I particularly am a huge fan of because I am a Maryland fan, Ty Felton. He had a relative athletic score of 9.60 out of 10.0. He's very fast. He's tall. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". He has range. I remember he broke the Maryland record for most receiving consecutive 100-yard games. So he's a big time player. He's a pretty good route runner, but he's physical as well. So I mean, and he has I think if I'm not mistaken, he had the third best receiving 40 this weekend for receivers. So yeah, that's somebody to look at too. I do believe that he's probably going to be like a day 2, day 3 pick. Just if you're going to go ahead and look at him. One guy who I'm arguably looking at as far as like, yeah, I think we may have to go ahead and pick him up is Amarion Hampton. Amarion Hampton is a running back out of UNC. He's regarded as the second best running back in the draft, right behind Ashton Genty, the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy winner. I think that he's got breakaway speed. He's actually he's really very balanced as a runner. I like him out the backfield receiving as well. I just think that he's an all-around just really good back, and seeing that this whole entire draft process is got some of the best running backs coming out this year, why not go after him? It's something to look at. Quinshawn Judkins, running back out of OSU. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ohio State. I like Michigan as well. I am a Maryland fan, but I like Michigan as well. But that's besides the point. Relative athletic score was a 9.88 out of 10.0. And for those for those NCAA 25 football 25 fans, yeah, Judkins was the one who had the super juke, and it was very elusive. It was hard to go ahead and try to tackle him. Didn't really pan out like that in college like that, but I mean, he was still a productive running back. I like both of the running backs coming out of Ohio State to be drafted within the first 2 days. I can see it happening. Like I said, the relative athletic score was a 9.88 out of 10. I mean, come on, that the dude's uber athletic. He can catch out the backfield. He's really good. He's a really good runner. He's just he has that breakaway speed. Like, I mean, why not go after him? Another person who really didn't have the stats like he could have had this past year. But he's super fucking athletic when it comes down to it at the end of the day. And if you have the team to go ahead and put it together, he could be dominant. Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M. Relative athletic score, 10 out of 10. I mean, seriously, he's going to be a first round pick. It's the production that I'm a little worried about. Yeah, you could be a workout junkie and everything, but how does that resonate in the NFL? It's something to look at. I'm not gonna sit here and just look at him like sideways and shit, but I mean, it's something to look at. I mean, in the league where you can go ahead, coaching is really, if your coaching is great, then you should be able to go ahead and get get the production out of the players. Then, I mean, hey, go after it. But me personally, I think because we're in the midst of the Super Bowl window being open, I don't know if I want to pick him up. But I had to go ahead and talk about it because I mean, a 10 out of 10 on relative athletic scores. I mean, come on, you got to talk about that. But moving on to the next person, defensive tackle Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. had a relative athletic score of 9.87 out of 10. Super strong, can get off the blocks. He stops the runs really well. Productive. He's a productive defensive tackle. I mean, because the whole entire talk of how deep this defensive line, being defensive ends and defensive tackles, is so deep this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out being a top 10. First round draft pick or even a second round draft pick. It's so deep this year. I could honestly see it happening. But yeah, those are just a few people who I think, as far as like that we should look out for. If you ask me, I'm picking between Omarion Hampton or Matthew Golden. If we don't trade away that first round pick. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about this past weekend. Me personally, like I said, go after the best person available, best player available, but also look at the fact if it's a need and that's the best player available, go after it. Hopefully they have that commander tag on them, like we did last year in the playoffs. I'm sorry, not in the playoffs, in the draft last year. But let's get down to what we're all here for. Debo's here, so you better go in and tuck in your chain. Yeah, let's get to it. So let's start off by this. Deebo Samuels was traded for a 5th round draft pick this year. He has 1 year left on his contract, and it's not guaranteed money on that contract. Washington is taking the remainder of Deebo Samuels' contract, paying this full $17.55 million for the 2025 season per source. Still pending a physical. It becomes official on March 12th, the beginning of the NFL New Year. Also, Jeremy Fowler tweeted, defensive tackle John Allen was part of the trade discussions between the Commanders and the 49ers this week as they executed the Deebo Samuel deal per source. Ultimately, he was not included. Allen was also due $16.4 million this year as a possible hurdle. It's a possible hurdle this year, trying to just get rid of him. Because, like I said, in the draft this year, they're really deep at defensive tackle. So you're going to have to go ahead and make a decision. Like, if nobody last time like I said last video, the Minnesota Vikings are interested, but if they're the only one interested and nobody else is out there, you got to create some buzz saying like, hey, we tried to go ahead and get the 49ers to go in and look at them. And so if that talk about like, hey, people are out here going ahead and trying to look at John Allen, yeah, that kind of raises the stock up for trying to get some trades in. Like I said, like we said, that 5th round pick is off the table now. You got to see what you can get out of it. So it will be indicative to him to go ahead and try to put this news out there to say like, hey, we tried to shop him around, and just because they just couldn't. Honestly, I don't think the 49ers could afford it anyway. But yeah. And the reason why I say that is because the San Francisco 49ers will absorb a $31.55 million deal, money hit, this dead money hit on the this year's salary cap. Samuel, who has 1 year remaining on his contract, will count $17.5 million on Washington's salary cap. It's possible the Commanders will extend the deal with him, and that's probably the best thing to do because it could save money in the back end. A lot of people were saying, as far as Deebo Samuels, he had a drop off over the last few years. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, me personally, thinking he just needed to change the scenery. Just looking at the whole entire situation, because last video I wasn't hip to what was going on in San Francisco like that. You had a lot of situations with a whole bunch of other players just dealing with injuries. He had pneumonia, and if you got pneumonia and you're a football player, that shit ain't gonna work. And apparently this pneumonia was really heavy, and it really was harping on him. I think that he also just need a better quarterback, in my opinion. What better to do that with Jaden Daniels? But yeah, also just to go deeper into looking at this, in his first 6 years, Samuel has 4,792 receiving yards and 1,143 rushing yards. In the past 4 seasons, he's rushed for 958 yards and 17 touchdowns while catching 244 passes for 33,599 yards and 18 touchdowns. He's also dominated in the 2021, nearly carrying the 49ers over offense to the Super Bowl. He had 1,770 yards scrimmage yards with 14 touchdowns before the Niners came up short in the NFC Championship against the eventual champions, the Los Angeles Rams. So I mean, you have to look at it like this too. He was the number one, I'd say 1A, because you had George Kittle on that team. He was the number one threat as far as basically carrying that team for the last couple of years. And then you also got to pick up with with Christian McCaffrey. So I mean, hey, it was easy to just pass the ball around and everything. But at the end of the day, he was still the number one receiver. He was getting looks over George Kittle. He was getting looks over Christian McCaffrey in the passing game. And also he was like the second runner as far as the second running back behind Christian McCaffrey. So I mean, with all that usage and everything, and he's a physical player. He is very physical. So I mean, it works out for us, but it also is like, hey, you got to look at the situation. The situation over there, over the last year and a half with dealing with Christian McCaffrey's injuries, dealing with Ricky Pearsall getting shot last year, dealing with Brandon Ayuk getting hurt, and George Kittle. Yeah, he had a good season, but at the same time, all those people are focusing on those two, and then they're shutting everything else down. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely something to look at the situation where hopefully it could get better and everything. So, but also I'm looking at it like this too. We have to give Adam Peters his fucking credit with this one, because I mean, for him to go ahead and pull this off, and I want y'all to think about, like, listen to this right here. We traded Jahan Dotson for a third, used that third, a fourth, and a sixth to get Marshawn Lattimore, and then got a fifth back and flipped that into Deebo Samuels. So we turned Jahan Dotson, a 4th round pick, and a 6th round pick into Deebo Samuel and Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, at the end of the day, Peters is a fucking demon. Like, just call it what it is, man. For him to go ahead and flip that whole entire thing, yes, they're not like their peak where they were or whatever, but dude, for getting them at a cheap rate, like let's give this dude credit. I mean, you can sit there and say whatever you want to as far as Deebo Samuel, like, oh, he wasn't that productive or anything. And I'm one of the main guys saying it. I felt like he wasn't really that productive last season. I'm starting to come around, guys. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. And if he ain't that great this year, oh well. What did it cost you? A 5th round draft pick. And you're probably going, well, we could use that for something. Guys, the last 4 first round draft picks, other than JD, have been a bust. They're not even playing on the team anymore. So let's call a spade a spade. Adam Peters is doing his fucking job, and he's doing a damn good job at it. You picked up Marshawn Lattimore when he was hurt. I mean, he came over here and he was having hamstring injuries. Before I go ahead and shit on him completely or whatever, I want to see how he is this year during the offseason to go ahead and see how he could fix this. I also want to go ahead and see, as far as with Deebo Samuels being in a better situation, this could actually mean good things for us. Also, let's just go ahead and look at this real quick, because looking at Deebo Samuels as a receiver, he's a horizontal player by scheme. He's a great screen guy. He does great on jets, dives, crossers, and catch and run kind of guy. He's got rack ability. Name every single one of our receivers that we had this year, other than Terry, who has rack ability. And even with Terry's rack ability, at times he was caught. Let's just call it what it is. We need somebody who can catch that motherfucker and be in and strike up the band as soon as he catches it. Debo can do it. Also, another thing, he doesn't have to be the guy. We have Jaden here. We have him. We have him here. We have what's the name? Ertz. I'm pretty fucking sure we're gonna draft another receiver. We're gonna pick up another running back. So he doesn't have to be the guy. And he can work out so much for us. He's an amazing blocker. Instantly, just the best receiver on this team, not named Terry McLaurin. I mean, come on, we gotta call a spade a spade. Last but not least, I mean, this is the one thing that I have questions about, and it's not a bad thing. What does this mean for Austin Eckler? I still think that because he's talented, you still need to keep him around. You have him for one more year, and I mean, at the end of the day, you can let him go if he has to be a cap casualty. But at the same time, I mean, I'm looking at it like this: Austin Eckler had a pretty good season last year. I mean, even as a returner, he was second team All Pro. You can have him as another weapon out here. I don't see why we can't use him. And even if you don't want to use him as a running back, you can use him as a fucking receiver. And I mean, and just think about this too, where you have those packages where it's third and about 3 or whatever, and Jaden has made it his career so far out of just being the best fourth down quarterback of all time. I'm playing, but I'm also being serious at this point. He's very productive on fourth down. Just imagine if you have to hey, it's third down or fourth down, and I need to get that 3 yards. Deebo Samuels, he can run it. He can run out the backfield, catch it. He can do whatever he really needs. And just look at how this offense is going to be next year. You got Jaden coming off a Rookie of the Year. You have Scary Terry there. You have Debo. You have Zach Ertz coming back. You have Brian Robinson Jr. You have Eckler. I'm pretty sure they're going to get another running back in here who's going to be a high flyer. So it's something to look at, guys. I'm thoroughly entertained and loving everything that Adam Peters is putting together. This guy's a fucking monster, and he knows what he's talking. He knows what he's doing. I mean, it'd be one thing if you actually if you gave away Debo for a 3rd round pick. Yeah, I'd have been pissed off about that. But you got him for a 5th. As a matter of fact, name me the next. Go ahead in the comment section and let me know any 5th round picks that flourished in this team over the last 3 or 4 years. Don't worry, I'll wait. No, seriously, go ahead and name it and put it in the comment section and tell me who exactly was actually a flourished 5th round draft pick that we had within the last 5 years. Because we didn't have one. You picked up one you picked up Deebo Samuel for a 5th. At the end of the day, let's just call it. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's a great fucking GM. Just give the guy credit. Guys, I've been rambling too damn long for this on here about this. Deebo, I like it for what we got out of it, for what we gave up out of it. I'm not mad. I think it was a great move. I'm waiting to see how this whole entire draft is how this combine is going to be. I know within the next few weeks they're going to have the pro days at the schools where all these athletes are coming out of. You're also going to have free agency starting on the 12th of March. You also, and like I said before, legal tampering day is on the 10th, so you can talk to them and set up agreements, but it's not official till March the 12th. So yeah. So guys, as I end this, please like, share, subscribe. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about the whole entire pickup. Tell me who you think we should pick up in the draft. Tell me what you thought about John Bates being picked, possibly not resigning, or should we resign him? Guys, also go on to my IG page. That's off DA bench _ HTTC. DM me, talk to me, holla at me, let me know what you think. And also, guys, as we do always, left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. Peace.
Yo, you made it to the end of Off the Bench. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Man, look, it ain't gonna cost you that much. It ain't gonna cost you anything at all. Just press that like, that share, and subscribe. Help a brother out, man.